Buderus, the choice for intelligent heating, providing gas and oil-fired products to the commercial and residential markets. Dr. Lou Vorsteveld, President.
Buderus has pioneered the development of boiler technology for centuries. We were the first to develop low-temperature boilers in response to the 1973 oil crisis. Buderus heating technology is now acknowledged as the world standard in low-pollution, high-efficiency hydronic heating. Thermostream is a more recent development with three main features. No minimum return temperature, which eliminates the need for a three-way valve. No minimum or maximum flow through the boiler, and therefore simplified piping. Buderus manufactures every boiler that we sell, assuring you receive the quality, efficiency, and service associated with the Buderus name here in the United States and worldwide. All components are manufactured with customer satisfaction in mind and must meet high standards of quality and dependability. Buderus products in North America are backed by professional customer service, technical support, and a widespread network of factory-trained representatives. We hope that you will find this installation video helpful, and we thank you for selecting a Buderus cast iron boiler.
After you have laid out all the parts and tools, you're ready to begin assembling the boiler. One of the most important steps at the beginning is to clean the nipple ports with a rag soaked in a cleaning agent or degreaser. It's also important to check for burrs at this time. Any burrs you may find are easily removed with a file. Use the supplied brush to completely coat the nipple ports with the supplied orange sealing compound. Clean a set of push nipples with a rag soaked in thinner and then wipe them dry. Using the same orange compound, evenly coat slightly over half the width of the outer surface of the upper and lower push nipples. Insert the nipple into the port, being careful to keep it straight. Once it's in place, strike the nipple firmly. Use either a wooden or rubber mallet to drive it into the nipple port. Never use metal to metal.
Make sure that the push nipples are seated evenly. If they are not, it could cause the nipples to crush and the boiler to leak.
Clean the sealing grooves on the flue side of the boiler using a steel wire brush. Make sure surfaces are dry, clean, and free of any oily residue. Next, apply the Buderus Primer 181 to all sealing grooves. These steps will allow the section sealer to adhere to the grooves of the section. Unroll the sealing cord. Remove the paper backing. Apply the sealing cord to the outer ring first, being sure to press firmly so as to adhere to the primer. When you arrive at the point where you began applying the sealing cord, overlap the cord by at least 1 inch and cut it to the needed length with a pair of scissors or knife.
To avoid injury, keep the work area clean during assembly. Be sure to dispose of the paper backing on the section sealer.
Now you can use the orange sealing compound to finish coating the outer surfaces of the push nipples that you have already installed. Clean the nipple ports of the intermediate section in the same way that you did for the first section, remembering to check for burrs. Then, coat the nipple ports with orange sealing compound.
The sections have arrows showing the direction of the assembly. Another way to remember is that the female grooves of the sections for the section sealer should always be facing out.
Lift up on the intermediate section so that it rests on the upper push nipple. Slide the two pieces together, mating the upper push nipple.
When moving sections, lean them towards you at a 45-degree angle for easy sliding to avoid injury.
Using the mallet, tap against the intermediate section, starting at the top, to seat it into the push nipple. Repeat this for the bottom.
If you are not using rails to assemble the boiler, make sure the concrete is level. If not, seating sections together could be difficult.
This is the point in the assembly that you will use the assembly tool rods. First, place an assembly rod through the bottom opening with a pressure flange on the rod. Do the same with the top opening. Once you have both rods inserted in the boiler, go to the other side and place a pressure flange on both the bottom and top rods. Insert straight pins into the closest slot to the lower plate. Then, repeat this procedure with the upper plate.
Do not try to assemble more than one section of the boiler at a time. Attempting to do so can ruin the assembly tool ratchet head.
Lock the flanges on the assembly rods in place with straight pins by hand tightening the assembly tools. Using the supplied wrenches, start to draw the sections together. Be sure to tighten both the top and bottom rods at the same time. After 10 or 12 turns, check to ensure that the nipples are seating properly. Once you are satisfied that you have drawn the sections together as far as they can go, back off the ratchet head to the end of the assembly rod. Loosen and remove the tools.
If you have a hard time taking apart the assembly tool rod sections, apply pressure to the ratchet handles in opposite directions to break them free.
It's time to install the tie bars. There are 3, 2 for the top and 1 for the bottom. These go in slots on either side of the upper and lower nipple ports. Making sure that the spring nuts are at the rear of the boiler. Slide one spring assembly on each tie bar at the rear section. Once you have hand tightened the nuts, Use a wrench to make an additional 1 or 2 turns. Tightening beyond that would hinder the ability of the spring nuts to handle the expansion of the boiler. The flue gas collector is installed on the rear of the boiler. First, apply the primer 181 adhesive to the grooves. Then, apply the sealing cord to the grooves. Place the flue gas collector on the studs and tighten with the washers and nuts provided. Tighten properly to ensure a gas-tight seal. Also, install the drain plug. The supply and return header is at the top rear of the boiler. Place the supplied gasket on the bottom of the 2 studded ports of the return header. Now, install the manifold. Apply washers and nuts and tighten firmly. Attach supplied gasket to the top of the 2 studded ports before installing the manifold. Again, remember to tighten the washers and nuts firmly. Turning your attention to the front of the boiler, you will next apply the gasket and plug. Slide the baffle plates into the boiler at the designated openings. Please note that the baffles have a bit of a curve to them and will install properly only if you are aware of this. Place the gasket on the top port for the return header pipe. Insert the return header pipe into the port. Make sure that the tab on the header pipe aligns with the slot on the top of the port opening. This locks the header pipe into the proper position and ensures that the outlet openings are positioned correctly to provide for the best possible water distribution. Next, install the blank flange on the studs and secure with nuts and washers. You have the choice to install the hinges on either side of the front of the boiler. This allows you to determine the direction of the opening of the boiler door. Once you have finished this, hang the boiler door on the hinges. Then, secure it with the proper bolts. On the front of the boiler, you will now install the top and bottom jacket brackets. For the top, insert the bracket over the remaining length of the stud of the upper tie rod. Secure with the supplied nut, making sure that the folded edge is pointed out. Install the bottom bracket using the supplied bolt to the hole of the leg on the last section. Place the top bracket, folded edge pointed out, on the nub and secure with the supplied bolts. For the bottom bracket, install, using the supplied bolt, to the hole on the leg of the last section. The next step is to install the insulation jacket. Begin by sliding the insulation piece under the boiler until it meets up with the boiler feet over the top of the boiler, bringing it all the way to the bottom of the boiler on the other side. Place the rear insulation piece with the return connection cutout upward on the vent connection. Secure the insulation to the upper support bracket using the supplied tension springs.
When applying the spring clips for the rear insulation, attaching them to the bottom bracket better secures the insulation.
The last insulation piece to install is placed on the front of the boiler above the boiler door. Slide the insulation piece with the cutout onto the folded edge of the front upper support bracket. Starting with the side panels, hang them at the knockouts on the support brackets. and then slide them forward until fully engaged with the support bracket slots. Secure them with the supplied screws. Place the front cover between the side panels with its knockout aligned with the support bracket. The installation of the rear top cover is the same as the front top cover. Secure the lower rear panel with the knockout for the drain on the bottom with screws to the side panel. Secure the upper rear cover with screws to the side panel and rear top cover. For the lower front cover, slide it onto the lower portion of the side and secure with the supplied sheet metal screws. Snap the bottom of the front panel into the lower front cover and support it at the top from the folded edge. The supply manifold has tappings to accommodate the following pieces: the pressure relief valve, the operating aquastat and manual reset aquastat, the pressure and temperature gauge, the manual reset low water cutoff. Install the optional Log-O-Matic outdoor reset control on the top of the boiler by snapping it into place on the top front jacket panel. Burners that are available in stock through Buderus are Beckett in oil, Riello in oil and gas.
We hope this video has answered most of your questions about installing a Buderus cast iron boiler. If you are in need of more detailed information, please refer to the manuals provided or call our customer support team at 1-800-BUDERUS.